Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.CA. I'm perched in front of a 1986 Porsche 911 Carrera right now. It's not one of the cars that we have featured today, but it's from the same era and the same manufacturer as one of them. We have today a 1982 Porsche 928 to show you. It's a low miler, under 80,000 kilometers. It's lot 206 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Mocha brown original paint on brown leather interior. It's in wonderful original condition. You're going to see that one soon. And the other car we have, another early 80s German car out of Stuttgart. So it's the manufacturer that's across town from Porsche, Mercedes-Benz. We have a 1984 Mercedes-Benz 380SL Roadster or convertible, take your pick. It comes with the removable hardtop, and you're going to see the hardtop on it in the video. And that one is an even lower miler. It's under 63,000 kilometers, and it's got a 6-digit, both cars have 6-digit odometers, so the 0 is clearly marked on both odometers, so that neither odometer has rolled over, as the saying goes. So the Mercedes, silver, astral silver in fact, on a blue MB Tex interior with matching carpets and door cards and dash. Again, under 63,000 kilometers. It's lot 207 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Please have a look. And again, the Porsche from the 80s, like this 911 behind me, is a 1982 Porsche 928 with under 80,000 kilometers. Mocha brown in color with a brown leather interior. Here come the cars. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the show, and we'll see you next time. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Before we get into this beautiful 1982 Porsche 928, I just wanted to remind you that we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast on the channel. And every week we talk to a fellow enthusiast about his or her cars, their car stories, and the fun they have with cars. So do take a look at those. Today, as I say, we've got a 1982 Porsche 928 to show you, and available very soon on the website as lot 206. And this is a very clean car, as you're about to see, but the beauty about this 82 928 is the low mileage. We're going to advertise it as sub 80k kilometers. Right now, as I sit in the car, the mileage is under 79,400 kilometers. So a real find for someone who's looking for an automatic original body 924 or 928 rather, in the original body style. As I say, nice low miler here. So that's enough for me talking in the driver's seat. Maybe I'll start the car and then I'll head over and just give you a bit of a tour of the car. So here's the start. So a nice clean start. I'll head over to the camera, take it in my hand, and I'll show you the engine. We'll have a listen to it running and the idle from the exhaust. Again, so a 1982 Porsche 928 with under 80,000 kilometers. It's still running from the start. Let's have a listen to the engine. Running smooth and clean. And there's the fan. The timing belt in there. This car's had a lot of maintenance, a lot of proactive maintenance by this owner and the previous. The current owner's had the car since 2015, and he's the second owner on the car. And we have a maintenance trail at a well-known Toronto area shop called G-Tech. The car's been in G-Tech at least annually since 2002. And we do have the records on the listing to show you that. So I got all excited about telling you about the maintenance. Another sound, another listen to the engine. And I'll walk around, let you hear the exhaust as it idles. Quite healthy too. Another thing I about this 1982 Porsche 928 is that I don't see any mods. There's no obvious modifications on the car. You can see even those exhaust tips. If they're not the original ones, I think they probably are the original ones, but if they are not, they're definitely the stock piece, the original style. So I've shut the engine now, shut down the engine. I'll close the hood and we'll take a good look at the exterior of the car. So you can see this, we still have a little bit of light this evening. Mocha brown's the color on the car. I'll show you the paint code badge here in the door jamb. So Mocha Schwarz, I'm pretty sure Schwarz in German is black. So they're calling this a brown black. I think that just is to denote it's a dark brown. But as I say, this car looks darn original, and for an 82, it's really impressive. The owners had some touch-ups done to the sort of the gravel guard here in terms of the paint, but the rest of the paint, he tells me, is original paint. So let's take a look around the car. The wheels here are 16-inch. They're same size wheels at all four corner. So the Porsche set calls these phone dial wheels, and these are original to the car. They're skinned in low mile Dunlop Sport Signature tires. They're 225s in terms of width. I know they're 16, and I think we see 225, 50, 16 for the size. Same size, as I say, all the way around. You can see also that the calipers are red, and I see those in the rears as well. And those rotors are vented as well. So yeah, on the tires, the owner put these tires on when he purchased the car in 2015. I noticed a date code of 2014 when I looked at our photos of the car. So they, as I say, they installed in 2015, but they've only got about 8,000 kilometers on them. As you can see, they're still looking pretty grippy, both in front and the rear. So going around, there's a rub strip down the side of this 928. These mirrors are kind of neat on the 928. They fold away, but they fold forward. Just a manual fold, no power for that. Here's our VIN number, which will match what you see on the listing. I also noticed today when I was up close with the car that this is a Sigla windshield. I'm not sure if the camera is able to pick up that embossing or not. But Sigla's an OEM windshield. I can't attest to it, but I suspect this is the original windshield for the car. The rest of the glass, as we'd expect, is by Securit, another Porsche OEM brand. I think the camera's picking up that Securit badge. But it's common on 928s, you see, because these do not have a remote entry, you see key marks on these little key cylinders. Don't really see any evidence of that on this car. There's a good look at the driver's rear wheel with the Dunlop Sport Signature tire. Again, 225, 50, 16. Maybe I'll turn on the parking lights. I know they're operational. And then, of course, the original tail light of the 928, which was produced from model year 78 to 1986. So this is right in the sweet spot of the middle of that original body style. I'll just show you the front parking lights and get back to the rear. I just want to show you those lights are operational. Oh, we've got the fogs on as well. And then I'm going to turn them off because the car's not running. Power antenna. It's operational. We have a short video on the listing that demonstrates the power antenna in operation. A rear wiper, and I think this little badge here on the window frame in the rear is the only place where you see 928 on the car. On the hood you see the familiar Porsche crest, and then right here, of course, you see Porsche written across it. It was only in the later S4 models where you'd see an optional logo up in the top right of the Porsche embossing. So two, I'll call them kind of bumper guards. So they'll save that poly bumper cover from damage if it's a light tap, but I don't think they've done much saving. I don't see any marks on them at all. Nice and clean. Here's a good look at the passenger side rear wheel. Clean and unmarked, 225/50/16 on the Dunlop signature or sports signature tire with the red caliper. I note the rotors in the rear are not vented, so we only have the vented discs on the front. A neat little item on the 928s is they have this little cover over the cap, and the cap actually is locked, so you always want to lock that to make sure that no air getting in. You don't have to worry about air getting in your fuel system. But it's nice to see that even this original flap is still in place 42 years later. And there's some information there, I think, about tires from the factory. Here's evidence that the car is a Canadian market car. The US market cars, this unleaded fuel only decal is in English only. We see bilingual here, so that tells us for sure, well, it's evidence certainly of a Canadian market car. When we get to the interior, you're going to see the dominant measure on the speedometers, kilometers an hour, and that the 6-digit odometer showing under 80,000 is in kilometers. And we see that this owner is a member, a CAA member. So winding back around, I didn't show you the sunroof. The sunroof's in open position right now. And as you can see, it's not very deep in terms of the length of the car, but it's because the roof is not very long before it goes back into this hatch panel. So the sunroof panel is sitting inside of this area. So that's about as big a sunroof as a 928 can house. Same system with the mirror on the passenger side. Can fold away forward. Nice rub strip. No marks on these rub strips. I don't really see any marks on the car. And then front right tire and wheel. No marks on that 16-inch phone dial either. And I really do like that the logos on the center caps are painted, so you can pick up that that's the Porsche logo. Again, the Dunlop Sports signature up front, and another look at that rotor, which is vented, as I say, with the red caliper. And there are some smudge marks on the car. The owner had it today at the Porsche Club of America Upper Canada Region Concours d'Elegance. So the car's sitting in Toronto as I record this, and it's already been to Niagara Falls and back today. So it hasn't been cleaned since. So there is a bit of road dirt on it. But even as we get low here on the front end, pretty clean down there. And we do have some, I'll show you the underside. I don't know how well the video camera is going to pick that up, but we do have some underside photos on the listing. So that's our circle check of the exterior. Let's take a look at the inside. Again, brown exterior and a brown, mocha brown on the exterior and brown on the interior as well. Maybe I'll show you this driver's seat. I was just going to note how clean the passenger seat looks. Oh, there's a bit of grass from the field where the Concours was held today. But that passenger seat looks nice and clean, no tears. And good bolsters on the sides. And even the front seat really doesn't show much wear. I guess that's reflective of the low mileage on this car. Again, under 80,000 kilometers. A fun fact about the 928, we do see 928 logos on the door jambs, despite the dearth of them on the exterior of the car. But the 928, it's got a handbrake on the left side of the driver, but the keys are not on the left like you'd see in a 911. The key goes over here on the right. So there's a look at the floor, and two pedals in this. It's an automatic. It does have a good dead pedal for those long distance drives that a Porsche 928 is made for. So climbing back into the cockpit, you can see a power mirror control there. This is a manual control for the lock, but there are power locks controlled in the center console as well. A neat little ingenious Porsche feature here. These pop out and you have a bit of storage inside there. You also get it on the passenger door. And one other neat item here is the airflow. You can see a vent here going through to here on the door. It comes out here, so that'll blow a little bit of air on the window. If you have a frosty window, this vent will. Again, power mirror there and a switch to control right and left. So we'll climb in and I'll start it up again just so our accessories are working, and you can hear it start again too. Nice, easy, sure start. It's really great. I did hear the radio earlier today, so I can attest to it's operational. I'm gonna turn off the engine, we don't need it. Another nice item, air conditioning as you'd expect in a 928, but this air conditioning blows nice and cold. I felt it earlier at the Concours. Nice original VDO analog clock. 3-speed automatic transmission shifted here in the center on the floor. And then in the center, we've also got power window switches on the far sides. Inside, we've got a sunroof, and this one's to operate the rear wiper. Another ingenious 928 item. Below the dash, there's a shelf here, not just on the passenger side, but also on the driver's side. In below there, that's how you get at your fuses. The glove box operates without too much trouble at all. There's some personal items of the owner, so I don't want to look too closely. And this dash has been recovered with a leatherette. The stitch really does make it look sharp and very presentable. And the owner opted for the leatherette over leather because he didn't want to have to worry about the leather shrinking, which is probably a good move. Next, we'll take a look at the engine bay. Okay, here's a good look at the engine compartment without the engine running. This car has a V8, as all 928s do. This one has a displacement of 4.5 liters, and it was rated from the factory at 231 horsepower. And as you heard while the engine was idling, it's got a nice rumble, nice V8 rumble. 2 air intakes here, and those flow up, and you see that orange piece is the air filter. I really like the Porsche crest on the engine here. Another neat thing, the battery in this car is down below in the hatch underneath the spare tire, and this right here is a post for a battery if you ever needed to get a boost or even give a boost. That's your positive terminal. And washer fluid, the normal, the usual suspects down here. But nice clean engine bay. I keep pinching myself that this is an 82, but it does have the low mileage, so I guess that's part of the secret to having such a clean engine compartment. Even the hood insulation, quite presentable, no marks on it. And same with the diagram here. Before I bring you to the hatch, I did notice a couple of features I overlooked showing you. So there you see your power seat buttons. And this is actually a volume control to the left side of the driver on the floor. I'll add that the owner tells me the car has heated seats. I'm not sure where the control is. So we'll check that before we publish the listing and clarify that. But as I say, he'd know. He told me it's got the power or the heated seats. So coming back to the hatch, I'll also mention the owner told me he's got 3 sets of keys for the car. So we're well covered there. Didn't really show you the back seats. They call this a GT car, Porsche does, Grand Tourer. So it does have the seats. For a long trip, I don't think you want to be much bigger than a 10-year-old. But in a pinch, certainly, you can put people back there and strap them in. There are 2 seat belts for those rear buckets. So a nice clean hatch. I know a bit about these cars, so I know that there's a toolkit that folds down. And this toolkit, as rarely seen on a 42-year-old 928, this toolkit looks complete to me. I'll just reattach that panel for the toolkit. A little trickier to do with one hand, with one on the camera, but there we go. This carpet's held down by Velcro. If you don't have it Velcro down and you operate the car with the windows down, this carpet will flip back. So that's a good sense. And right here, under this panel, it's got some tape on it to preserve its life, but it looks original. Here's the spare, so a space saver spare, and you need to inflate that. I don't see a compressor in this car. So if you're prudent and you buy this car, you make sure you have a compressor before you go anywhere. I'm not gonna pull the spare out, but underneath the spare down here, there's a door to get at the battery. It's just a bit involved to remove the spare. And of course, this cover, as you see, and these are shock towers for the rears. Pretty clean looking to me. Get that back into place. You feed these onto these metal loops. And that's back into place too. So I'll give one more walk around the car and then some concluding thoughts. Solid German door of the early 80s. So mocha brown on the exterior color. We'll get that paint code before we go to the concluding thoughts, but really cosmetically, I don't see any flaws. Another important item on this car, this seller has ordered our mobile pre-purchase inspection. So the inspection is scheduled for between now and the time the auction begins. And we will definitely get the inspection results on the listing. So really, you can see the cosmetics both inside and out, quite nice, excuse me, and we're adding the peace of mind with that inspection. So there's the paint code, A2 on the Mocha Schwartz. Date of manufacturer on this car, May of 1982, so a late 82 car. So again, that's a look at our 1982 Porsche 928 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. It's lot 206, and it's got, not only does it have under 80,000 kilometers, but it's going to come with a mobile pre-purchase inspection report. The seller opted for that when he did his online submission. So that inspection is going to get done between now and the time the car hits the site. And the other really important thing for Ontario buyers anyway, is that the car comes with an Ontario Safety Standards certificate. So nothing to worry about in terms of getting it registered. Go to the license bureau and get your license plates. The car comes with a safety. CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 206. Thank you everyone for watching. Bid with confidence, bid with peace of mind. You've seen the cosmetics, you'll see the inspection report. Know that it comes with the safety. 206 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Thanks everyone, thanks for watching. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast here on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Today we've got a wonderful 1984 Mercedes-Benz 380SL, top of the line for Mercedes in 1984. Very original car. The most beautiful thing about it is the odometer reads under 63,000 kilometers. Right now, 62,236, and there's a 0 preceding that, so a 6-digit odometer. Before we dive right into the car, I just want to remind you, we also run the Collector Car Stories podcast. In case you haven't seen those, check them out on our YouTube channel. Those ones we also put on Spotify and Apple Podcasts in audio format only. These car reviews, the video is a critical component, so they're only on YouTube for now. So please do take a look at them. There's a dedicated link on the menu of our website. On a computer, top right, look for CCC Podcasts. And on a phone or tablet, it's in the first menu drop down towards the bottom of that list. So this 1984 Mercedes-Benz 380SL, a convertible. We've got the hard top fixed into place right now for the video. There's also, so this hard top is removable manually, as they would have been for any hard top convertible back in the 80s. This car also has a blue soft top. So again, the mileage on this car, 62,236. You'll see photos of the odometer on our listing. But again, it's a 6-digit odometer. so no worries about it having rolled over, as they say. 062236. So to get started, I'm gonna start the car, pop the hood, and maybe then head over and grab the camera and get a closer look at the engine. So here we go for a startup. Okay, key in the ignition, and here we go. Starts very easily, goes right to a nice low idle. The tachometer reads about 600 RPM right now. So we'll pop out and I'll pop the hood here. And we'll get the camera up close to that engine to have a look and a listen. So here we are at the front of the car. As you saw, the hood's already popped. You can see it's open there. Interesting way of a hood release in here. If you're ever around one of these 80s Mercedes, you reach into the emblem here and you release it up there. So here's a look at the 3.8 liter V8. So small V8, but it is a V8 with the 3.8 liter displacement. Factory rated at 155 horsepower and 196 pound-feet of torque. So we'll get a close look. There's the familiar emblem on the air cleaner. We'll look at the belts, the valve covers. There's a good sense of what this engine sounds like. It idles easily. And let's head back now to the exhaust. We'll give that a listen. So there we go. I'm going to cut the engine here. And we'll shut that up, close up that hood. And we'll give the exterior a bit of a tour. You'll see all of these labels on our detailed listing for the car. Okay, so there we're shut down. Familiar front end here, so that's the North American headlight look. The European market cars had a flush headlight. Easy conversion if anyone is so inclined. Fog lights on this car and the indicators. When we were shooting the photos of the car, we tested the lights and they all worked just fine. And in German, true German style of thinking of everything, when we tested the bright lights with the fog lights powered on, the fog lights powered off for when the brights were illuminated. And then of course we turned off the brights and the fog lights came back on. So those Germans think of everything. There's not much point of having fog lights if you need your brights and vice versa. So here's the emblem that's right in the grille and another beautiful three-pointed star emblem at the front of the hood in the center. Nice chrome bumper with some black trim and bumperettes. I don't see any marks on those vinyl coverings. Not too surprising for a low mile car, under 63,000 kilometers again. Here's a good look at the front left wheel and tire. So I see Michelin on these tires, and these are called bunt wheels, B-U-N-D-T, the original for this car. The tire size on it is 205/70 with an R14. I'll have to ask the owner about this, but there's not enough tread for them to be the originals, but I believe these are the original spec tires for this car. When we get to the trunk, you're going to see a brand new unused bunt wheel with a full-size spare mounted, and it's a Michelin with the same size and the same kind of graphics. So I would expect the spare tire has never been moved for that trunk. Certainly it's unused, but the tire itself is a match and the wheel is a match for these ones, and you'll see when we get there, but it looks unused to me. So a little rub strip along the lower end of the side of the car with some ridges for styling. there's still chrome everywhere in the early 80s cars. Chrome on the mirror and chrome surrounding the windshield. I noticed not only the Security badge on the windshield, which I'm not sure if the camera will pick up, but we've got this quality control decal from Mercedes-Benz, leading me to believe that this is likely the original windshield. You'll see the pictures on the listing, but we've got Security glass on every pane. I believe these are the all original windows we replaced. Here's a look at the driver's side rear tire. Same size all around on the tires, 205/70 R14, so a square setup, and the matching front wheels all around. The car's got a power antenna to hook up to the original Becker radio with cassette, AM/FM cassette. There's a video on our listing showing the power antenna in operation, functional. And the familiar taillights, which were, this is an R107 body code. Internally at Mercedes, you'd see these taillights on the, certainly the W124 sedans, and even the S-Class sedans as well, the same style. So the idea behind these ridges you see on the lenses is that snow, dirt, debris won't stick to the entire surface of the tail light. So if you get some dirt on this part that ridges out, the lights are still going to be visible on the inside of the ridge. So it's a neat design in terms of cosmetics, but it also has a function as well. So there's the 380SL badge and a 3-pointed star on the end of the on the back of the trunk here. Matching chrome bumper in the rear with the vinyl trim, as well as the two smaller bumperettes on the rear. And again, I'm not seeing any marks on this bumper. And another look at the pretty tail light here. Fuel doors right here, no release on it, just do it manually. Pretty clean in there. Some information about tires on that label, and the unleaded gasoline only logo. So for me, it's neat to see all of these original decals still in place. You can even see a Mercedes 3-pointed star on the fuel cap, metal fuel cap, I might add. And you can see if we look closely that that's a convertible top. So that top is removable. We're not going to remove it for the video because the owner of the car inherited it from his father, and he's not entirely familiar with the operation of the roof, so we don't want to mess with it. And truth be told, it's been on for 5 years anyway, and there might be some drying up of the seals and gaskets, so they might be brittle and we don't want to damage them. So consider that when you're bidding or making an offer, that you might need to buy some rubber gaskets and seals. But a good look at the roof here. It's unmarked. I don't see any marks from it. One thing these do suffer from when the roofs themselves are in storage is that when people are riding off the top down, they don't care for the roof in storage. It might get scraped up, but I don't see any evidence of that here. Certainly we've sold 380SLs in the past, and that's something I always look for. More evidence that this might be the original windshield is this stock Daimler-Benz product sticker. The chrome mirror matching on the passenger side. And there's that front bunt wheel, 205/70 R14 on the Michelins all around. So that's a pretty good look at the exterior of the car, I think. Even, I won't call them chrome, but metal on the wiper arms, unpainted metal on the wiper arms. So let's climb in, take a look. So here's a close look at that odometer, 062236. So this car is going to its new owner with under 63,000 kilometers. On the inside of the door, there's a little map pocket, latch and lock. You don't see a crank because the power window controls are in the center here. We've got an exterior temperature gauge, which is only operational when the car is running, as you can tell. And an original Becker Grand Prix electronic radio. I just pulled out a cassette so you can see it's comes with a cassette player. That display does work when we power the car up. Maybe I'll power up the accessories so we can see these things lit up. I'm gonna close the door though because the stock whine or warning of an open door on the Mercedes is pretty high pitched. So there's the radio with the clock built into it. Climate control, automatic climate control down here. You set your temperature this way and you make your selection here. This circle here is to power it off. So we'll do that. There's how you control the fan. We'll power that off. There's the key in the ignition. We'll include in the listing how many keys are on hand for the car. I don't have that information, but that's an original key to this Mercedes. And the shifter in front of, or behind rather, of perfectly clean ashtray. I even took out the cigar lighter earlier, and looks unused to me. So modern times for non-smokers, you've got a 12-volt outlet there. If you pull out that lighter, here's the automatic transmission, a 4-speed automatic transmission in this 1984 380SL. Power windows, as I already demonstrated. This is for power mirrors, and you got your 4-way flashers. Nice glove box. It's filled with some personal items, although some of the items are worth seeing. There's the original owner's manual and all the original books. There's a photograph of all of these on the original listing, or our detailed listing. And you can even see the Mercedes logo on this amazingly well kept vinyl plastic attache for all the books. So 40 years old. I don't see any tears or cracks in the vinyl or plastic. It's amazing. So vents, there are 4 of these circular vents for the passengers. Got a speaker there for the Becker Grand Prix original radio. There's an armrest here that folds up. And on the original carpets are in place. On the passenger side, there's one of these protective carpets. So I don't think that's a Mercedes piece, but the original one's there. And in our detailed listing, we even pulled back these carpets so that you can see the metal floor underneath. So I'm not going to do it right now, but please take a look at our detailed listing to see photos of that. And there's a good look at the passenger door. There's also a map pocket over there, and basically a symmetrical equal of the driver's door. I'll pop out and we'll take a look at the rear compartment. There are no seats in the rear, just a 2-seater for this 84 380SL with under 63,000 kilometers. Pop this seat up like so, get the seat belt out of the way, and yeah, so matching carpet in the rear. The first aid kit remains in place. I suspect it's original. I haven't opened it up, so I didn't check the condition of the materials inside. And matching carpets, of course, behind each seat. So we'll, I should mention too, the material on the seats, it's not leather. Mercedes at the time and for many years before and afterwards was using a material called MB Tex. So I'd call it a little richer than vinyl, but it's not leather, and that might come as a shock to period Mercedes owners that their car is not leather interior. But MB Tex is the name of the material, and that's what was being used by Mercedes at the time. And you can see 40 years later, although this is a low mile car, but it really does stand up to wear. So working our way back, let's take a look at the trunk here. So trunk's released with this button, and turning that latch with the key can lock the trunk, of course. So the original tool roll is here. There are many tools here. They're unsorted. Certainly you could come up with a complete tool roll. There are more tools there than would have been in the tool roll originally. Not sure the originality of some of those tools. I would expect this, and this, and this to be original. Not sure about these wrenches. I suspect some might be replacements. These items are what you need to, these are dedicated tools to remove the hardtop. So we'll put those away. I did promise a look at this spare tire because it's pretty awesome. It's like a time warp looking at this spare tire. So I got the tool roll out of the way. Actually, incidentally, this is where the battery is. You'll find the battery underneath that cabinet. I think we can get at it. There's an interstate battery in place on this car. I'll worry about the latches when we're done the video, but I'll just get that out of the way in order to demonstrate or show off the spare tire. So we pull up this carpet, and there's a plastic cover over it. And there's a brand new bunt wheel. I think it was placed in this trunk in 1984. Hasn't moved since. So there's the Michelin marking on the tire. And the size, as I say, the same size that's on all four corners of the car right now. We did get some photos of the underneath of the car. I'll shoot a little bit of video of it. I'm not sure how it'll look on the video, but if you want to see the underneath, please do take a look at our detailed listing. But here's what the camera can see from the angle I'm at. 40 years later, and also original looking. I think it's safe to say that this is a fair weather car only, certainly no winters. I don't think it's even been caught in the rain. And here's a look at the underside from the front end. Nice and clean. So I'll do one circle of this 1984 Mercedes-Benz 380SL, Mercedes R107 body. And then I'll jump back into the driver's seat with some concluding thoughts. But yeah, an amazingly original car with under 63,000 kilometers. There's the three-pointed star in the grille. So that's our look at CollectorCarCanada.CA lot 207. A wonderfully original 1984 Mercedes-Benz 380SL. Again, it's got the 3.8 liter V8 engine, factory rated at 155 horsepower and 196 pound-feet of torque. Really, take a look at the video. Please take a look at our gallery on the detailed listing. In wonderful original condition. Again, under 63,000 kilometers. And I really do think this car is going to make someone happy. Thank you for watching. Again, lot 207 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. We'll see you next time.